start the fight, breaking down the walls in the dead of night. I don't come for peace, I come for the storm. Fanboys melt quick when the truth gets warm. Saw content's high, I'm collecting those tears. Just got started, but I'm cutting through fears. I'm not here for brand deals, I'm not for sale. I expose your lies, rip off the veil.
You ever wake up, grab your copy, scroll the headlines, and think, okay, what's Nintendo suing this week? Because at this point, it's not even a surprise anymore, it's a ritual. Some people check the weather, some check the stock market, but Nintendo, they wake up, stretch, crack their knuckles, and go, alright boys, whose fun are we shutting down today? And apparently it's a Reddit mod this time. Out of all the villains threatening their $100 billion empire, hackers, leakers, emulators, lewd Mario fan art, they decide the ultimate evil is a Reddit modder. This man was sitting at his PC, running a subreddit, probably eating leftover pizza rolls and arguing with strangers online, and Nintendo was like, that's the final boss, that's the threat, forget Bowser, forget Ganon, get me that Reddit moderator. And I swear, this isn't even a parody anymore. This is real life. Nintendo is suing this guy for $4.5 million. You know how much money that is? That's like 2 amiibos and a Joy-Con repair Nintendo math. Now here's where it gets funny, because as much as I've roasted Nintendo for their greed, their $80 games, their anti-consumer nonsense, their DLC cut content, their amiibo price hikes this time, I can't believe I'm saying this. I actually agree with them. Yeah, let that sink in. Write it down. Clip it. The vigilante said Nintendo is right. Mark this moment because it might not happen again for a long time. See, this guy, this Reddit mod known as Artbox, wasn't just running a little meme page. Nah, my boy turned Reddit into a Pirate Bay 2.0. He built an entire network of what Nintendo calls free shops. Which, by the way, if you're gonna name your illegal operation something, maybe don't call it a free shop. That's like calling your drug cartel Totally Legal Imports LLC. Subtlety, my guy, learn it. These free shops were basically one-stop bootleg supermarkets for pirated Switch games. We're talking hundreds of thousands of titles, from Mario to Metroid to probably that weird fitness boxing game nobody played. He had everything. Dude was running a Walmart in a digital back alley. And you know Nintendo, they protect their IPs like it's the last Triforce shard on Earth. They sent a cease and desist fashion you could say ROM dump. So they actually reached out to this guy. They said, hey, we see you, stop it, delete it, walk away. And what does he do? He pulls the classic Reddit mod move, actually no. Nintendo gave him a warning, an official warning, and he treated it like a DM from a bot, ignored it. My guy, look at the letter from the most lawsuit happy company on earth and said, I'll risk it. That's not bravery, that's brain rot. I watched one season of Better Call Saul and thought I could outsmart lawyers' energy. Then Nintendo sent another letter. They were like, okay, we're serious, take it down. And he goes, I'll work with you, which apparently meant I'll delete some posts, pretend to corporate, and then keep doing the exact same thing. It's like getting caught stealing cookies saying, okay mom, I'll stop, and then 5 minutes later you're double fisting Oreos behind the couch. And at that point, Nintendo was done playing. They said screw it. They hit him with a lawsuit with full power, default judgment. He was Exodia obliterated, $4.5 million in damages, and a permanent injunction. And here's the kicker, this man wasn't even doing it for free. Oh no, there was a pro version of the pirate shop. $5 to $25 a month. That's right, he had tiers. He literally monetized piracy. For just $24.99 a month, you too can become a Nintendo villain. I'm sorry, that's insane. He turned Switch piracy into a subscription service. The irony writes itself. It's like Nintendo Switch Online, but with actual content. He even asked people to donate Nintendo eShop gift cards to help fund dumping games. Bro, he was literally stealing Nintendo games using Nintendo money. That's not just piracy, that's performance art. And look, I get it, a lot of people hate Nintendo right now. They are overcharging for cut content DLC, they're milking nostalgia like it's a renewable energy source, and they treat modders like war criminals, trust me. I'm the first one to call them out, but this selling pirated games, that's not a rebellion. That's just stupidity with extra steps. Now let's be real for a second. Piracy's been around forever. People have been emulating NES ROMs since dial-up. A lot of people have, but there's a difference between downloading Super Mario 3 in 2025 and running a massive paid piracy operation now, while Nintendo's legal snipers are actively scanning the internet. That's not brave, that's suicidal. That's like walking into Nintendo HQ wearing a free Yuza t-shirt and yelling, "You can't stop me." And you know what's wild? He could have stopped. They literally gave him a chance. They said, "Stop it, delete your servers, walk away." But instead, he deleted evidence, got combative, hit his GitHub, and then ghosted them like they were a lousy one-night stand. And now Nintendo's got him dead to rights. He's sitting there with a default judgment filed, $4.5 million in damages, an injunction on top of that, and you just know Nintendo's lawyers were high-fiving in the courtroom like they just unlocked a new Smash Bros character. We got a Reddit monitor DLC character unlocked, defendant number 1. Meanwhile, Reddit's reaction was pure comedy. Half of them were like, "Good, you don't sell pirated ROMs." The other half was like, "But Nintendo bad." And I'm all over here. Both things can be true. Nintendo is bad, they're greedy, they're anti-consumer, they're charging you $70 for a remaster of 2 bundle games and calling it a blessing, but that doesn't make piracy legal. That's like saying my landlord's a jerk, so I get to steal his car. Now, that's not how the world works. And don't even get me started on the Reddit logic. Well, actually, pirating doesn't hurt sales because these people wouldn't have bought the games anyway. Really? So you're telling me someone went through all the effort of cracking a switch, downloading ROMs, joining secret discords, and scripting fake eShop accounts, paying those ridiculous tiers, and they don't like the games enough to buy them? Please, that's like saying I don't really like pizza while eating an entire deep dish myself. Yes, some pirated copies probably wouldn't have been real sales, sure. But let's not pretend every pirate is just a digital Robin Hood. Some of y'all are hoarding terabytes of games you'll never play just because it's free. You're not fighting the system, you're collecting digital dust. And it's not even about the money at that point, it's about the principle. Because if we say it's okay to steal from Nintendo because they're greedy, what happens when people start stealing from small studios, from indies, from developers who can't afford to lose even on sale? You can't have it both ways. You can't say support the devs one week and then torrent their next releases because it's $5 too high. Now, don't get me wrong, Nintendo deserves every ounce of criticism for how they treat their consumers. But this isn't a moral victory for anyone. This is just one dude who thought he was untouchable, learned the hard way that Nintendo's legal team is basically the IRS with fireballs, and now owes enough money to buy an actual lifetime supply of Switch cartridges. He really looked at Nintendo and thought they won't notice. My brother in Christ, they notice when people drew Mario smoking weed. You think they're not going to notice when you run a black market GameStop out of your bedroom? The saddest part is this story could have ended quietly. If he had just stopped, Nintendo probably would have moved on suing a plush maker or a YouTuber who blinked at Mario's sprite. But no, he had to keep going. Now his name is in the federal court document forever. Nintendo America versus someone, I'm not going to say his name even though it's public information. The ultimate crossover nobody asked for. You just know the courtroom is going to be dramatic too. Nintendo's lawyers walking in with the Mario pins on their suits saying, "Your Honor, my client has suffered emotional damages because people downloaded Luigi Mansion 3. And somewhere, Miyamoto is sitting in a meeting like, yes, justice has been served. Now let's charge $40 for the next amiibo." So yeah, let's call it what it is. This guy messed up, big time. He played stupid games and he won a lawsuit. And you know what the irony of it all is? Nintendo was making more money off of this lawsuit than they did from half of their $80 ports. And the moral of the story? You can hate Nintendo for their prices. You can hate them for their greed, their DLC scams, and their lack of consumer respect. But even when they're wrong about everything else, they're right about one thing. If you break the law and you poke the bear, you're gonna get mauled. So maybe, just maybe, instead of pirating, complaining, or worshiping these corporations, maybe we should all focus on holding them accountable the right way, with our voices, our platforms, and our wallets. because the moment you try to fight Nintendo by stealing from them, they don't lose. They respawn with legal superstars, and that, my friend, is the real game over. But listen, I get it, I really do. I understand why people pirate. I've said it before and I'll say it again, I rent my games. I don't buy these overpriced games from Nintendo. They don't get my money. To me, there's not a real huge difference between renting a game from GameFly and downloading a ROM off the internet. The only thing is, one's legal and one's not. But the end result the same. Nintendo is not cashing a check for me or people who download the ROMs. And you know what? That's not on us. That's on them. They built this world. They created this frustration. They push people to the edge by overpricing everything, by locking their own legacy titles behind fake scarcity, and by refusing to put their classics on modern platforms. You can't act shocked when people go digging for games you buried. That's not piracy, that's digital archaeology. If Nintendo actually cared about preserving gaming history instead of squeezing every dime out of it, maybe fewer people wouldn't even bother downloading ROMs in the first place. But when you charge $60 for a 20-year-old GameCube port and call it a deluxe edition, don't be surprised when someone says, yeah, no thanks, I'll emulate it. That doesn't make it right, but it makes it understandable. And let's be clear, I'm not saying piracy should be free for all. That's a huge difference between someone downloading an old copy of Super Mario Sunshine to relive their childhood and some dude setting up an online storefront selling stolen games for profit. That's where I draw the line. You can't start making money off of it. You cross over from rebellion to exploitation. Because if you're profiting off stolen work, you're not Robin Hood, you're just another greedy middleman. You're doing the same thing Nintendo does, just without the branding. So yeah, I get it. People are frustrated. They are tired of paying $70, $80, $90 for games that used to cost $50. They're tired of being told that DLC cut from the base game is somehow a bonus. They're tired of companies that value shareholders more than players. So when they turn to ROMs, I understand. I don't encourage it, but I understand. But this guy, the Reddit mod, who was out here selling piracy like it was a subscription service, nah, no sympathy. That's not sticking it to the man. That's becoming the man. He wasn't standing up for gamers, he was just cashing in on their frustration. So if Nintendo's greed lit the fire, people like him poured gasoline on it. And when you do that, you can't cry victim when the fire department shows up swinging a $4.5 million hose. So yeah, I understand the frustration. I understand why people feel pushed towards piracy. But the second you start treating stolen games like a business, you're not a freedom fighter. You're a fool asking to be sued. And at the end of the day, this whole story is just one big reminder that Nintendo's greed created this ecosystem, but their lawyers rule it. They built the trap and this guy walked into it with a big smile and a PayPal button. So if you're gonna go down that road, don't act surprised when Mario shows up with a subpoena. Because yeah, Nintendo might be greedy, but they're still undefeated in court. And that's why no matter how bad they mess up, how overpriced they get, or how they test our patience, they'll always win these battles because in Nintendo's world, it's not about justice, it's about control. And they just reminded everyone that even when they're in the wrong, they still are the final boss. And that's it for the video. If you truly enjoyed it, do me a favor and hit the like button, hit the hype button, share it around, and make sure you're subscribed. I post a long video every day, and I also go live Monday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific time, where I react to the saltiest fanboys around. And also, make sure you subscribe because I'm really trying to hit 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I really need your help. If you really want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. It's only $1 a month. You'll get special badges, custom emotes, and of course your name shouted at the end of every video. And once that list gets too long, don't worry, I will turn it into a full-on credit roll so everybody gets their chance to shine. Also, don't forget to check out the merch if you want to rep the Vigilante Fire. And as always, until next time guys, stay vigilant. And now it's time to read off the members of the channel. We got Koros Objective, Maximilian Pegasus 88, Mad Fox 94, Shade Milkman, Oh No Is Justin, Brian Payne, Andy Ritz, J Wesby 65, C Stars Piplup, Maximus 2400, Geezer Noob, Dustin 360, That PlayStation Gamer, The Gaming Rip, Raymond U21, Brian Abraham, Stephen Ramy, Betful Zexel, Wooden's Throne, Matthew Buckley, Byron Morse, King Paco Nintendo Lover, AV Gator 2000, Blue Moon, John Barr, Baron Grod, Kawabi Asari, Is Josephus, Gundam Hufflepuff, Johnny Bones Jones, Angel Black, The One and Only Groot, Female Goku, Power Mad UK, Thomas Hopkins Jr. Thank you so much for becoming part of the crew.
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that vibe. We're huddled